When you first begin in your spiritual awakening or your spiritual journey, you're full of questions. I know I was. And I wanted the answers. So I was always seeking out someone, a spiritual teacher or mentor, to help me with those questions. Nowadays, people can turn to social media. There may be a spiritual teacher on social media or on YouTube who will have answers for them. Or perhaps it's an author of a book or books. I know that was the way that I went back in the day. I was always reading books. But maybe you've noticed over time that the person or persons you're following, maybe there's one or more, whose teaching, even though it began in the beginning of your journey feeling very uplifting and their knowledge was really helping you and their wisdom seemed to resonate and you were learning so much, but then something happens where it begins to become more fear-based, or perhaps the person is even going completely contrary to what they originally had taught. Or perhaps you find a person in your life who is someone that you can actually work one-on-one with. And at first that person may be very encouraging and uplifting and very loving and caring, but then you begin to see another side of that person and you begin to feel they're becoming very abusive or controlling. Why does that happen? In this video, I'm going to explain why a spiritual teacher may devolve and also give you some tips to help protect you on your journey to enlightenment. Hello, I'm Wendy Rapp, spiritual life coach and psychic tarot reader. On this channel, I help you as a spiritually awakened person grow and evolve on your soul's journey. And if you enjoy material like this, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss my next upload. So what could cause a spiritual teacher, or any spiritual person for that matter, to devolve? The first thing that comes to mind for me is perhaps this person really did not fully do their shadow work. Shadow work is something that takes a lot of time. It takes time for us to really fully drop the ego. And in fact, it's something that all spiritual people are always working on. And if someone who is a spiritual teacher really has not fully done their shadow work, or they're not keeping up with it by keeping their ego in check, it can become very easy for that person to become corrupted by their own fame and their popularity and authority. Also, their ego could get in the way if they have a student who perhaps exhibits gifts that they don't have, or greater gifts. They may become jealous of that student. And sometimes a teacher could be going through some kind of personal life crisis, like a divorce or the death of a loved one, or perhaps some kind of serious health issue. If they're going through some time of crises and they have not fully done their shadow work, when they go through that dark night of the soul, it can cause them to have a break with their beliefs or shift with their beliefs, and they may begin to question everything and even revert to their old set of beliefs. So what can you do to protect yourself? Well, the first thing you need to remember is your journey is your own. A teacher, mentor, guru is only meant to be someone who's there to support you and motivate you and guide you, give you feedback. It's a teacher or mentor's position that they're trying to make themselves unnecessary in your life so that you can become the seeker who is finding the answers for yourself. Your goal as a seeker is to learn, not to be taught. A good spiritual teacher recognizes that you are on your own path, and a good teacher will allow you to take control of your own personal development and your own beliefs. A good spiritual teacher will allow you to question the things that they're telling you, and they're not going to insist you believe everything they say. They know it is up to you to decide what you're going to believe and what you're not going to follow or believe. That's always up to you. And if something doesn't resonate, if somebody says something, a teacher, a mentor, says something that just doesn't fit or feel right to you, let it go. Just let it go. You don't have to feel that or you shouldn't be made to feel that, oh, you're just not spiritual enough to accept this belief that I'm giving you, or you're just not enlightened enough. That's just a bunch of baloney. If it doesn't resonate with you, just let it go. And a good teacher will be very accepting of that. They know it's your journey and you need to be the one responsible for what you're believing. Now, also, sometimes you may hear something and maybe you aren't ready to hear, or it's not, you haven't gotten to a point where those truths are ready to sink in. That's fine, but no teacher is ever going to make you feel lesser than for not accepting whatever it is that they're teaching you. Also, there may be something you're hearing that just doesn't resonate with you, and then you find out shortly after that there's been some new enlightenment. Maybe this teacher hasn't been keeping up with their spiritual reading and teachings, or connecting very well with their angels and guides, and they're not receiving the newest information. There's information in books I have seen and read from years ago, decades ago, 2 or 3 decades ago, and when I read it now, it doesn't resonate, and that's because there's been new enlightenment that's come along, and that new enlightenment resonates. So there may be some kind of new information either about to come through or that has come through that you need to be made aware of. And a good teacher will never, ever tell you that what you're experiencing in a meditation is wrong. I've heard of teachers doing that, and they're not mature people. If they're telling their students, you're not doing it right, listen, everybody meditates differently. Everybody receives information psychically in a different way. It's okay. There's no one way to receive information from the divine. We're all different. We're all going to receive it differently. So if you have a teacher who's making you feel like you're just not doing something right, and no matter how hard you try, you can't get it the way they're telling you to do it, go find a new teacher. And a true spiritual teacher will not exploit or bully you. They will not interfere in your personal life and in the choices you make in your life. I've heard stories from people that I've done readings for who told me one teacher wanted her students to all cut their long hair, and then she was going to dictate what style you wear it in. Oh, let somebody try that with me. Unbelievable. I just can't believe somebody would have the gall to do that. Another person told me somebody was telling them who to vote for. These are free will choices. What we do in our personal life is part of our free will choices, and that is our divine right. No one has a right to tell you how to live your personal life. If you have a teacher who's doing that, I really suggest you find a new teacher. Always remember, the teacher is not the authority. The authority is the divine, and you have your own connection to the divine. Your connection to the divine does not come through any other human being on this planet. You have your own divine connection. And if a teacher is trying to tell you something or telling you to do something, and they're coaching it under this, making it feel as if, oh, well, I'm hearing from the divine that you should be doing X, Y, and Z. That still doesn't give them the right. The divine will never tell you what to do. When people come to me for readings and they say, what do I do? What do I do? Tell me what to do. I always tell them the divine isn't going to tell you what to do. So if the divine, who knows best for you, isn't going to tell you what to do, who are any of us to tell anyone what they should be doing? So if someone comes to you and says something like that, feel how it resonates. I mean, usually none of us like to be told what to do. If it doesn't resonate with you, let it go. And just a side note, when things resonate with you or don't, that is part of your connection to your higher self, and then by extension, the divine. So that is the way the divine speaks to you. If something resonates, okay, then you know that this feels right with the divine. If it doesn't resonate, it's the divine's way of telling you, not for you. This is not from source. Don't believe or buy into this. So Always go with your gut feeling and what resonates and what doesn't, and it doesn't matter who is saying it. If it doesn't feel right to you, move on. The best way that you can protect yourself from people who are perhaps not the best teachers or mentors is to develop your own relationship with the divine. Develop your own connection to the divine. You do that through meditation. I know people are like, I don't like to meditate. Even if you just spend 5 minutes a day, and you can meditate walking down the street, clearing your mind and asking for signs, asking for inspiration. In the shower, you don't have to be sitting lotus style for hours. You can do it in the shower, you can do it taking a walk, but you do need to quiet your mind for a while every day, even if it's just 5 or 10 minutes, and ask for that inspiration, that inspired thought that comes from the divine. If you develop your own relationship with the divine, you'll know when something resonates and when it doesn't, and that's the best way to protect yourself. Also, learn to be a seeker, not be taught. So teach yourself, I'm seeking answers, but I don't want to be taught what I should think. We're taught what to think, but when you're a seeker, you're always seeking some new information, because there's always new information out there. So you're always seeking what it is. What's the next thing I need to know on my journey? Also, when you receive some kind of new information, I don't care who the source is or where you hear it from, before you accept it, I mean, unless it resonates immediately with you, but if it doesn't, weigh it out. Think about it. Pray on it. Give yourself time to absorb the information and put it out there in prayer and in meditation. Is this something I need to know? Is this something that's going to help me on my journey? So give yourself time to absorb any new information that you may receive from whatever source. Remember, this journey is yours, and your spiritual development is part of that journey. Only you can decide what is right for you, what is wrong for you. So do not give your power over. I know years ago I had a mentor, and I loved her dearly. She's passed on, but one of the things she always used to tell me, and she'd get mad at me sometimes, is stop giving your power away, stop giving it away. In other words, just because somebody says something, and that somebody maybe has decades more experience than you do in the spiritual community, doesn't mean they're right. Doesn't mean whatever that information is right for you, or their way of doing things is right for you. So don't give your power away. Be inquisitive, seek out new information, but the power always remains with you to make the right decisions for yourself and your own personal beliefs. I hope that information was helpful for you. Can you tell I have strong feelings about that subject? I really do. If you have any questions or any comments about today's material, feel free to leave it in the comments section below. I would love to answer your questions, and I always see your comments and I will respond. Also, if you'd like a reading with me, give Earth Spirit a call. Their number's on the screen. Just give them a call and they can schedule an appointment time with you. And if you want to connect with me on social media, the links are below in the description box. As always, remember, you are a spark of the divine. Share your light with the world. Blessings.